Welcome back, everybody. Sam the electrician here, talking about Western independence and Alberta separation. Today, I wanted to talk about something that has got almost no media play, and that is Saint Greta's little article she wrote the other day. You'll remember Greta Thunberg is the autistic, mentally ill child who suffers from depression, who has been used as a puppet by radical environmentalists in Europe and sent on a big PR tour and became the spokesperson of the radical climate change cult. Came over here, interfered in the Canadian election, and lectured the UN with her now famous "How dare you" speech. And accused everyone of ruining her childhood and stealing her dreams and all this hyperbolic hogwash, dramatic, nonsense. Anyway, she wrote an article the other day that let the mask drop, or the cat out of the bag, whatever you want to call it. She actually showed the truth for a brief, shining moment of what actually motivates these people and what's behind this whole movement, which is a globalist communist revolution, essentially. I'm going to quote from the article now directly. You can decide for yourself. But she writes an article that says it's not just about the environment. Oh, it isn't? Hold on. It is, quote, it is a crisis of human rights, of justice, and of political will. Colonial, racist, and patriarchal systems of oppression have created and fueled it. We need to dismantle them all. She later writes, quote, but to change everything, we need everyone. So they're not talking about climate anymore. They want to dismantle society. They want to, quote, change everything. And you see, this little girl, this exploited puppet of these radicals, has spent so much time with them and been privy to their private conversations and the motivations behind their movement that she is like a piece of carbon paper. And I'm sure the environmentalists appreciate that analogy. Carbon paper, and she has soaked up everything, and she let it out in this article, and someone published it. And the reason I believe that this is the truth is the fact that there are absolute silence from the mainstream media on this article. Weeks ago, she was the great spokesperson, Saint Greta, the girl that was here to save the world. They were hanging on every word of her that came out of her mouth. And now that she's told the truth, crickets. If I could edit my videos better, I would literally feed in the sound of crickets right now and sit in silence. Crickets. Nothing from any of the mainstream media, because they're hoping it gets buried in the news cycle and that no one pays attention to it, because for one shining moment they were actually telling the truth of what they're after. So this is something that I barely caught it. I combed the media for video ideas and looking at the political stuff, and there's only a few outlets reporting on it. Rebel News did a little thing on it, good job, and Tim Cast, another YouTuber from America, caught it and did an article on it. So they good for them for catching that. And as to the actual lies that they would tell and the propaganda, I mean, people my age remember when it was global cooling was the thing that was going to kill everybody. Oh, global cooling's coming, and the earth is going to freeze. Then they changed that to global warming, and all the ice was going to be melted in the Arctic by, I forget what they used to say. Al Gore used to say, was it 2009 or whatever it was? Here it's 2020 almost, and there's plenty of ice up in the Arctic still. The drowning polar bear memes, and the last lonely starving polar bear that's drowning on the last piece of ice. Well, that's all lies. It's all lies to make money for these people, and the radicals have come in and hijacked the idea to, as they say, dismantle it all, which means a direct attack on the Western way of life, freedom, liberty, meritocracy, all the stuff that I've been going on about in my videos. And this is why it's a much more insidious threat than most people believe. The 10 to 15 years of just incessant propaganda from the CBC, day in, day out. I mean, just look at it. Look how many articles there are about climate change and about what we need to do and how we need to change everything. It's just people who can't think through it and have been born after the time that this started, they're all in danger of becoming completely indoctrinated. Out here in Alberta, luckily we seem to be immune. I saw some polls the other day that says that only about 30% of Albertans fall for this crap, and 60% of us are still sort of immune to this garbage propaganda that is absolutely, I mean, it's a cult that they use these mantras like the science is settled, the science is settled. Well, I can tell you this, computer models are not science. Computer programs and models is garbage in, garbage out. If you put a line that's heading up in a up direction, 99% of the time the computer is going to continue that upwards direction. The computer has no critical thinking skills. It's only going to do what you program it to. So computer models are not science at all. And global warming and climate change is a theory which needs to be looked at with a critical eye. And there's all sorts of things wrong with it that I'm not even going to get into in this video. But what is the scariest part is they're using the fear of it and the inexperience of much of the population, the information just isn't out there to debunk it, because they use words like denier, how they used to use that word in the medieval times for people who didn't believe in God, or that the sun went around the earth and all that kind of stuff. It's so culty, and it's so easy for critical thinkers to see that we need to help the rest of the people be educated on this one. And it's just another reason for Alberta to separate and not allow them to dismantle our way of life and our freedom. What little freedom that's left on this planet is sort of left in the west of Canada, and to some extent in the United States. And everywhere else, freedom is being relentlessly gnawed at. And it is here too. But at least we still have a semblance of freedom, and we need to preserve that. So let's move forward together and separate and proclaim a independent Western Republic. Us in Saskatchewan, parts of BC, whoever wants to come, we can make it happen. We just need to stay united and stay on task, and not let their lies and propaganda ruin our movement. Take it easy.